foragers or horticulturalists who make their own tools, weapons, clothes, and toys, the term would have little meaning. In the same way, people in the small-scale societies in which we evolved generally have no specific term for what we call politics or religion. It is when a special group of people specialize in a range of goods or activities, like religious services, that a special notion, religion, makes sense. Religions win battles, lose the war. It would be wrong to suggest that each form of religious activity simply replaced the previous ones. But the emergence of religious organizations did not result in the elimination of ancestor worship, mystical cults, or shamanistic practices. First, not all human groups turned into large-scale unified polities with extensive social stratification and division of labor. Also, religious organizations in most places, for most of human history, had to contend with the constant presence of shamans and mediums, and other similar non-organized religious service providers. Indeed, a good deal of the history of religions is the history of their fight against these competitors. As noted above, organized groups of priests naturally strive toward monopolization, and in the same process are closely associated with centralized political power. Religious organizations can then establish a monopoly on specific ceremonies or on the access to particular places like temples or shrines. But there always is some competition. In all places with religions, there is also a variety of alternative providers, personally identified specialists such as shamans, healers, diviners, and mediums. In the imperial period, the official state Roman religion had to accommodate competition from the wild and exotic cult of the Great Mother, Cybele, whose devotees indulged in ecstatic rituals and self-flagellation. Their extravagant costumes were meant to contrast with the staid pomp of official ceremonial. Another source of competition was the dramatic spread of Mithraic mysteries and initiations. Religious organizations can win many battles, mostly due to their access to political influence, but they seem to lose the war, as the resurgence of an alternative provision of religious services is inevitable. This raises the question, why do people resort to informal providers to supplement the services of official religions? The demand must be there, and it seems quite compelling, since people resort to such services even though they often are frowned upon, marginalized, or even prohibited by established churches or castes of priests. It seems that informal shamans, mediums, and healers respond better than religious organizations to a very specific demand that religious organizations do not meet. One possible explanation, proposed by Harvey Whitehouse, lies in the contrast between doctrinal and imagistic practices. The doctrinal practice of religions is a form of intellectual training, accumulating a great number of relevant and explicitly connected propositions. It is characteristic of doctrinal religions. By contrast, the imagistic mode of transmission, more characteristic of mediums and shamans, consists of rare but exceptionally salient experience, so striking that its details remain engraved in memory. Doctrinal practices constantly run the risk of generating as much tedium as conceptual clarity, while imagistic ones can become so incoherent that most conceptual content is lost. In his ethnographic study of Melanesian religious movements, Whitehouse showed that a shift toward a more doctrinal organization, with lessons, commandments, catechisms, and so forth, paved the way for imagistic revivals, with highly salient but conceptually ambiguous experiences. In the regions where Whitehouse did his field work, people had adopted a new Melanesian religion, complete with specialists, coherent doctrine, rote learning of commandments, and codified ceremonies. Many devotees then defected to join a